Ed DeRosa with Twin Spires, pleased to be joined by trainer Bret Calhoun. He's going to have a very busy Saturday, including saddling Run Classic and the $1 Million Twin Spires Louisiana Derby. And Bret, some pretty apt comparisons to By My Standards, I'm sure. Maiden winner into the Stakes ranks. You did it 2 years ago. Can you do it again?
Yeah, we're sure hoping so. Obviously, there's some similarities of breaking his maiden on Risen Star Day and then coming back in the Louisiana Derby. I think the main difference here is By My Standards a little bit more seasoned horse. He had several more races, so I think that was advantageous for him. As far as Run Classic goes, you know, I wouldn't be attempting this if he wasn't such a good-minded horse. He's a horse that allows me to take a shot here because he's been pretty smart and he's acts like somewhat of a seasoned horse. With that being said, I do think he's moved forward since his last race. I think he's just kind of running on natural raw ability the first couple of races. Brian made him finish up a little bit in that last race and gallop out, and he kind of like it was kind of like the light was coming on. His work since then, you can tell he's a little bit more serious in his works in the morning. So yeah, that's the main difference. Obviously, we're trying to achieve the same goal. I think this horse is every bit as talented. I think he has just as big opportunity as By My Standards did 2 years ago.
And he is by Run Happy and went a little bit into the pocketbook for this one, I think 475. And as a 2-year-old, Run Happy is not necessarily forward. Does seem like he's had a lot more winners as the calendar turned to 2021.
Absolutely. You know, things weren't going great for Run Happy until the last month or so, and it looks like they've all taken a big step forward as 3-year-olds, as well as this horse it has. You can look at him physically and tell he really wasn't made to be a 2-year-old, and that's what we bought him to be. We bought him to be a 3-year-old classic contender. So hopefully that's working out. That's what he looks like. That's what he's trained like, and hopefully Saturday he'll prove that.
And Mound 3/16, we know the Derby's sort of an equalizer at the classic distance, but going the extra half furlong from a Mound and 1/8, as most preps are, no slouch either in March.
Yeah, big unknown for a lot of the contenders in here. Obviously, a lot of these horses have been 1 mile and 1/8. They're proven there. I think that next 1/8 of a mile from 1 mile and 1/8 to 1 mile and 1/4 is a big step, and I don't think anybody knows. Obviously, the mile and 3/16 another transition, kind of lets you helps you learn a little bit more. And I think we're all kind of just wondering at this point in time. You know, he seems like a horse that can do it. Like I said, he's made for it. He's a big, tall, long, rangy, leggy horse. Covers a tremendous amount of ground. He's got a high cruising speed. He hadn't showed us any limitations in the mornings or in his races yet, so we'll see Saturday.
And you mentioned him breaking his maiden on Risen Star Day. The trifecta from the Risen Star comes back. They traded blows in the Lecomte as well. From a scouting report perspective, do you see the locals as the horses to beat or the shippers?
I do. I think the locals are a solid group. I think the first 3 finishers in that race were all solid. I think any one of those could bounce back and win and turn the tables on the other one. I'm hoping to upset the apple cart with all of them. Obviously, the horse of Doug O'Neill's from California is a nice horse. He's you know, he's very accomplished, second in the Breeders' Cup, I believe, and had a prep race under his belt. Yep. So I'm sure he's coming in here loaded. But actually, I think the locals are going to be the toughs.
All right, well, I couldn't get you out of here without asking about one of my personal favorite horses in training, By My Standards. Did win the Louisiana Derby. It was my pick to win that year's Derby. Didn't work out. Came back great at 4. Any plans for 5 yet?
We're getting pretty close. He had a real nice 5/8 work a few days ago. It was his second 5/8. First time we've really let him do anything. Strong, worked great, galloped out well, came back good. We're going to look at something between Oaklawn and the Oaklawn Mile around April 10th, or possibly waiting till the day before the Derby and the Alysheba.
All right, well, we'll certainly look forward to that. Look forward to seeing you back at Churchill Downs. And I know you got a busy weekend ahead, really all up and down the Mississippi Valley. So, Bret, really appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot.